Hey guys, Quinn here. Doing the whole vlogging every day in June, trying really hard to do that. As you know, this is PTSD Awareness Month, and when my car accident happened, my therapist at the time recommended, because I have compounded PTSD, she recommended that I write out all of the traumas that I've faced and to try to spend at least an entire month, a minimum of 3 weeks of exploring how that trauma has affected me. With so much stuff going on, I have not stopped to write out every single trauma because there are tons of them. I think like 4 or 5 in 1 year alone. So that was challenging. But I have um, taken the time to look at that year and to see, because like it was in 1 year. That was when I survived the assault. We lost her home. I had to move. My landlady attempted suicide. I had to quit college, and yeah, I moved like one, two, three times in 1 year because of all those things happening. Um, and so it's been helpful just to allow myself first, since I couldn't necessarily face all the traumas. I have sat down with the rape, and I've written on it extensively, but I have not allowed myself to sit down with the loss of leaving school or the loss of really losing my California family, um, and what they meant to me. And so there's some things I guess that I'm really ready to go gung ho right into, um, studying those things or expressing them and allowing those feelings to come up. But that cuts me to the core because these were people that I really loved, um, that I kind of just am starting with allowing myself to wish for the best for all people who were involved in that situation is what I'm allowing myself to do. To wish for the events that had happened in the year of 2007 to have all the good things that I would want to have for myself. So not necessarily just for me, but for all the people, the coworkers, um, my landlady who attempted suicide, um, for all of them to have all of the prosperity, the peace, the tolerance, the understanding, the communication, the listening, the joy, all of those good things that I want for myself. I'm wishing those things for them. And I've been doing that for, oh my God. Okay, so it's been 2 weeks doing that part. And that's helping me to come off the edge with that situation. Because I had been wearing it as a badge of, yeah, I've survived all this bad stuff, ain't it awful? Living off of self-pity and getting significance over the harm. Um, versus really embracing the people, the events, and the memories, that were present during that time. So that's been really helpful for me, taking the time to just lightly address the situation, and then um, it'll allow me to go deeper because I'm really wanting to heal those relationships. Father's Day is in June, and my California dad lost his job, and he was like a mom. He was like a father to me. He was like a father to me. He really was very, um, very loving, guiding, but didn't always have that as his language, but was just very welcoming and open with me. Um, and unfortunately, we didn't have that language at that time during trauma of how to say, this is something horrible that's happening, and I'm scared, that I'm afraid, um, that I don't know what to do in this moment. That was like, we didn't have that language at that time. And so I'm allowing myself to sit with the fact that I don't have this person in my life anymore. Um, and that that I want to control what was happening for him. Um, I want to control what was happening for mom, of course, too. But it's like I saw him struggle with an addiction, and not knowing how to say anything. Should I say anything? Should I intervene? Should I engage? Um, Crap, I just realized right now I'm making this video, I really need Al-Anon as a meeting because he was someone that I cared about who was an alcoholic. Um, but it was down low, on the down low. It was his escape, I think, from work and from mom and family. Um, I think that was his escape, but it was just like low key. I chose to not judge it. I chose not to do anything with it. But I remember how mom was like always hyper vigilant and looking for bottles of alcohol and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of like, to me, it was his thing. Um, but that I don't have this person in my life. And I value him. It's interesting. It's like weird because I'm feeling my feelings at the same time. That's a new thing too, to allow myself to feel the feelings that I had around that time. I really wish I had the language to be open and loving and to be a safe person myself for him and for everybody that was involved. But he's just one of them that's coming up. It's also wanting to be a safe person for mom, to not try to control her, to tell her to calm down or to change whatever it was that she was feeling, um, but to validate her, which is exactly what I was wanting. So this has been a very good process for me of wishing the best for all who were involved. Um, Same goes with my landlady who attempted suicide. I didn't have the language to say, sometimes there are things that you do or that are hurtful, and I'd rather have a loving and connected relationship with you than to have one on tension or a relationship based upon um, fear of offending or of being kind of, I want to say, unwanted or a nuisance or in the way. So, because if we would have had that type of conversation, if I could have been that vulnerable with her, then maybe she would have had some path of having that language to be vulnerable with those of us who were in the home instead of attempting to harm her life for what I appeared at that time was an attempt to keep her son from leaving and me from leaving. So I see these things now. I see these things. And it's been a very helpful process of just wishing the best for those scenarios. And I'm glad that I have that as an example because it's allowing me to go back into my childhood to be able to look at all the traumas that had happened there and to still wish the best, all that is good in the world for all those involved in the traumas of my youth. But right now I'm just starting with the immediate things. I still have not forgiven the lady from the car accident. This week I had a flare up of that. And so I know that's going to be another thing that I really need to intentionally sit with and to try to get it out of my heart just to heal me. To wish the best for all that were involved in the car accident. Even though I was a passenger, I wasn't driving. Um, but to wish, and she was a drunk driver. Isn't this funny? I got hit by a drunk driver. But to wish for the best for all involved, for the officers, for the firemen who came, um, for the city, for the bystanders, everyone who was involved, to be able to wish for the best for them so that I can free myself from holding on to this pain, to this story of trauma. So that's where I am. That's the process or an exercise that I'm trying to do each night. And now that I've just said this about the car accident, I need to go add that to my list of things because I didn't do it. Yeah, so I'm doing these as they come up, like if it's like the immediate thing that's on my mind, the immediate issue, I'm listing whatever that resentment or event was, the date that I started meditating on it, and 2 weeks out. And so I'm like just now reaching 2 weeks on that subject of everything in 2007, just the stuff. And so yeah, that's where I am, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about that next time. Okay. Till next time, y'all. Peace.